Well, good morning and welcome to Main Street Live. Yeah! Whether you're watching at home or you're here in the chapel, it is awesome to be with you. Just a quick reminder, Easter is coming, and on Easter Sunday, you get to hang out with your family all Sunday long, which is super cool. And there's a special service really early in the morning at 7. It's going to be outside right over there in the courtyard. And then there'll be a 9 o'clock and an 11 o'clock. But the cool thing is you get to hang out with your parents for the whole service. And I have a pretty cool object lesson. It's called the 3 Thieves. So be prepared. Well, today we are talking about one of my good old friends, and we will call him Jay. Hey, boys and girls, my name's Jay. How you doing today? Let's give him a nose and a happy face. Yeah. Aren't you happy to see Jay? Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Well, today our story is about Jay. And Jay is kind of like you and I a little bit in that he made some good choices and he made some bad choices. And there were times in his life where he was patient, and there were times in his life when he wasn't patient. But the cool thing is that God kept working with him. And eventually he became super famous, like super duper famous, like super duper 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 famous. And yet his name is Jay. Well, actually there's more to it than that, but you're going to find out about him in our story. But before we get to our story, I want to show you a little illustration. You see, I have what is called a lazy Susan. Now what happens is when it's like Christmas dinner, and you have condiments like salt and A1 and ketchup and Heinz 57 sauce for your turkey, which, okay, maybe you don't have those, but maybe you have jam and honey and different things. This you can set at the middle of your table and you can only reach here. Well, guess what? You can move it and reach something there. Pretty cool. Well, for my illustration, I'm going to talk about being in the center of God's will, like that. Dun, 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 dun. Being just on the side of God's will, dun, 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 dun. Or just plain being outside of God's will. Bum, 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 bum. Work with me here, I can't go that low. All right, so check this out. We're going to start off with Mr. J in the center of God's plans. For you see, God had a plan for Mr. J. And you're going to hear about it in today's story. And interestingly, there were things in his life that he was doing right to stay right in God's plan. And when we stay in God's plan, it looks something like this. See how it still spins around? You don't have to be perfect, but you're moving along, you're in the center of God's will. Now what happens if we move it just a teeny bit out here? Whoa! It gets a little topsy-turvy. It's a little bit more difficult. And I don't know if you noticed, it tends to slide out to the outer ring when you're not in God's will. Things get a little cattywampus. And then, check this out. When I spin it, Jay's going. Ah! Help, I fell down! So once again, when Jay is in the middle, when he's right where God wants him, doesn't have to be perfect, but at least is doing what God has asked. He kind of got to get it right there in the middle. There you go. Dun, 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 dun. Pretty cool. However, when Jay says, you know what? I'm going to do things my own way, and he gets out a little bit to the side, he ends up on the edge, and when you're on the edge, guess what happens? Oh, that hurt. Things don't go quite as well.